Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here then hi, my name is Miss Paris and I'm a newly qualified primary school teacher here in the UK. Well, I don't really know where to start with teaching tips. I kind of thought, okay, 2021 I'm going to do lots of tips, and with all of the kind of issues going on at the moment and the uncertainties, I kind of wanted to make a video that would be useful here and now. And I know that some schools in London have been shut. There's obviously talk around the country of all schools shutting, and so I wanted to make a video about some tips for virtual teaching. I just wanted to give you some tips for this because I know that some trainees will be doing this even for their placements, and obviously NQTs, they might be in that situation as well. I am a qualified primary school teacher, like I said, but also I have been online tutoring for quite a few years now, so I know it's not 30 children, but there's still some tips that you pick up along the way that I wanted to share with you today. These are in no particular order. I think they're all kind of as important. Some are more specific than others, some are quite general, but you know, in that moment sometimes you can forget the real basics. So tip number one is to test all of your tech beforehand. So is your mic working? Is your camera working? Do you have okay lighting behind you, or are you in front of a window and your face is just going to be a black silhouette? That's not going to be helpful for them. If you are playing an online game as like a warm-up, do you need Flash, or is Flash not installed? All of these kind of things, just quickly, it takes about 2 minutes, just try it out beforehand, because if you have 30 children and they're already not wanting to sit down in front of a screen, and then you have to fiddle around with tech, you are going to lose them. Tip number two, this is kind of related to setup, but more their end. Obviously you can't control what's around them, but if they, especially with older ones, if you know that they've got maybe a phone nearby or an iPad or something else that could distract them, maybe just ask them to put it away or switch them off or move them to the other side of the room, because especially with older students, and especially if they might have their cameras off, you don't know if they are secretly just playing on their phone or I don't know, whatever next to you. I know that I can personally kind of touch type, so I can be looking at somebody and doing something at the same time. I'm sure in this generation they can do that as well. My third tip is create explanations for the different functions on the platform you're using, whether it's Zoom or Microsoft Teams. This can be useful for parents who aren't very technologically confident, or just younger ones. So if you want a child to mute or unmute themselves, you can maybe have a kind of visual card where you can say, okay, could you unmute yourself so I can hear what you're saying, and maybe hold it up so they know what symbol to press. If it's new to them, how are they going to know which one to press? Same with camera or any other function that you want them to use. Number four is set expectations for their learning. This is completely new to them, especially if they haven't done it already this year. To sit in front of a screen and, you know, try and learn, it's completely different. So set those expectations once again. They will be slightly different, but it's important for them to know what you want from them and what's acceptable and not acceptable. You know, they might just think, oh okay, well I'm just going to go and ask my mum for a biscuit now and run off, but you're in the middle of an explanation. You know, just kind of say, if you want to go to the toilet or something, you know, raise your hand, or sometimes there's a raise a hand button, just so that you can kind of still have the expectations there and that the learning isn't too disrupted. Another expectation you might want is to have cameras on at all times, or, you know, if you want to speak, put up your hand. If you want to, you know, write something, they can use the chat. However, these are the expectations with the chat room, etc, etc. Okay, I have 2 tips left, so if you have made it this far, keep watching because these are also 2 very important ones. My next tip is to make use of the different features on your tech platform to enhance engagement. So obviously if you can imagine watching a screen for ages and, you know, it might not be particularly interesting to them, they might be kind of dozing off from all the listening and lack of movement, then why don't you try and make use of different features? So on Zoom, for example, you can share screen, or you can allow them to control your screen. So if you're playing a game and you think, oh, who would like to have a go at this? You know, and you're like, oh, who's sitting nicely, who's listening, that kind of thing. Then you can allow them to control the screen and they can control your screen temporarily. Obviously they can't go on any of the tabs, it's just the tab that's currently open, but it's a nice way for them to kind of get involved rather than just watching you do things. Or on Microsoft Teams, you can make use of the audio features or the clips that you can put on Microsoft Teams just so that if you are setting work and you're not necessarily doing live sessions with them, that they can still hear your voice, they can still feel connected, they still know what you want them to do, especially if they're not confident with reading and you've just written out instructions. It straight away kind of puts a barrier, you know, either a mental one of, oh, I don't want to read this, or I don't know what it says, so I'm not going to do it, or even a physical one of, okay, I literally can't read this, I don't know what it says, and you don't know how much the parents will get involved. So just make sure that your learning is accessible to everyone and that you use these features to your advantage. My last tip is about brain breaks, especially when they are younger or even when they're older and it's quite a dense topic, it's quite analytical, you're going into quite a lot of detail. They might just need, obviously depending on the age, a few seconds of just break, or you know, a little go noodle clip, or just a move around, stretch, yawn, whatever it is, twirl around in your chair. It doesn't matter what it is. Or you could give them a little puzzle or a little open question that they're like, and it kind of distracts them for 2 seconds of what they're learning about, kind of allows them to switch off, to relax a little bit, and then you can still bring them back in afterwards, especially if you put the expectation of, okay, let's have a 2-minute break, you can do this, that, this, whatever it is, and then come back afterwards. So yes, it's all really uncertain times. I realise as a trainee it must be really stressful, even as an NQT or an experienced teacher who's never done this virtually before. It's new to everyone, so I hope these tips were useful. If you have done virtual learning before this year and you want to add any other tips, please do so in the comments below. I'm sure they're going to be really beneficial to everyone, and I will see you soon for more teacher related content. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this a like so that YouTube suggests it to others. See you soon. Bye!